Right now, somewhere on Earth, a doctor knows exactly what to do the moment a patient dies. There is a form to sign, a family to call, a quiet room down the hall. 400 kilometers above that hospital, there is no quiet room down the hall. There is no hall at all. Just 6 people sealed inside a metal can, racing around the planet. And if one of them stops breathing tonight, the others face a question nobody likes to ask. What do you actually do with a body in a place where there is no ground to bury it? Here is the strange truth. We have walked on the moon. We have lived in orbit for 25 years, and we still do not have a finished plan for the most certain thing in the universe. So tonight, let's talk about it carefully and with respect. What really happens if an astronaut dies in space? By the end, you will understand why this quiet problem may decide whether we ever reach Mars at all. Start with a part that surprises almost everyone. In the entire history of spaceflight, only 3 people have ever died in space. Not 300, 3. And it happened more than 50 years ago, June 1971. 3 Soviet cosmonauts finish a record-breaking mission on the world's first space station. Dobrovolsky, Volkov, and Patsiev climb into their capsule for the trip home. The hatch seals, everything looks perfect. But as the capsule separates, a small valve jolts open. At 160 kilometers up, the cabin air begins to hiss out. They were not wearing pressure suits. There was no room for them in the tiny cabin. By the time the capsule landed softly in the grass, the 3 men were gone. It remains the only time humans have died in the vacuum of space. That tragedy rewrote the rules. Every Soyuz crew since has worn a pressure suit for launch and landing. The lesson cost 3 lives. Now you might be thinking, what about the shuttle disasters? Those crews are remembered as heroes, but technically, they never reached space. Challenger broke apart 73 seconds after launch in 1986. Columbia came apart during re-entry in 2003. Both tragedies happened inside Earth's atmosphere, not in the black beyond it. So real death in true space is almost unknown territory, which means almost nobody has had to answer the question we are about to face. Let's get the scary myth out of the way first, because the movies got it wrong. If a body is exposed to the vacuum of space, it does not explode. Your skin is tougher than that, but it is still no gentle way to go. With no pressure outside, the water in your body starts to turn to vapor. This is called ebulism. The body would swell up, maybe to twice its size, but it would hold together. The tissues are elastic and porous, like a sponge. Consciousness would fade in about 9 to 12 seconds. It is fast, and it is silent. There is no sound in a vacuum to even cry out into. Here is the part almost nobody expects. In space, a body might barely decay at all. On Earth, decay is driven by bacteria, insects, and warmth. In the cold, sterile vacuum, the bacteria themselves get frozen and dried out. Instead of rotting, the body would slowly freeze dry. It would mummify, preserved by the very thing that killed it. Think about that for a moment. The same emptiness that ends a life would keep that body almost perfectly intact, drifting for a very long time. Now back to reality, and to the place where this could actually happen first, the International Space Station. If an astronaut died on the station today, here is the good news. They could be home in a matter of hours. The station orbits low. A capsule is always docked, ready. The body could be returned to the family, on the ground, almost immediately. But until that capsule leaves, the crew has a grim task. And for that, NASA quietly built a piece of hardware most people have never heard of. It is called the Human Remains Containment Unit, a modified military body bag designed for the harshest environments on Earth and now for orbit. It carries the body to the station in 2012. It has odor control filters and moisture-absorbing linings, and a zipper reversed at the head, so a grieving crewmate can open it gently at the face to say goodbye. Once sealed, the unit connects to the station's refrigeration, the same way a morgue on Earth slows decay with cold. The body would then be moved to an unpressurized section, kept cold and safe, until it can come home. In 2019, NASA tested the design with real human donors at a Texas university. Some units held for over 40 days before decay broke through. It is not a comfortable thing to build, but space is the one place where you cannot improvise. So they planned ahead, in detail, with care. Now here is where it gets harder than the engineering. A death in space is not just a body to store. It is 1,000 small, impossible decisions. Who tells the family when the nearest phone signal is bounced off satellites a quarter second away? Mission control is suddenly running 2 missions at once. Keep 5 grieving people alive and working, and manage a loss watched by the whole world. And the crew? They still have to function. The oxygen system does not pause for grief. The experiments do not stop. Psychologists who study this say the hardest part is not the body. It is helping 5 people grieve inside a sealed metal room they cannot leave. There is no walking it off, no driving home, no fresh air, just the same 6 windows and one empty sleeping cabin with the panels shut. NASA actually rehearses this. They run death simulations. So the crew is not deciding everything for the first time in the worst moment of their lives. Quick, honest question for you. Could you keep doing your job perfectly in a tin can the day after losing a friend? Tell me in the comments. Because everything we have talked about so far assumes you can come home quickly. The next part is about what happens when you cannot. Everything changes the moment you leave Earth's neighborhood. On the way to Mars, there is no lifeboat, no quick capsule home. A round trip to Mars takes years. If a crewmate dies in the first month, the body cannot just be sent back. It would ride along with the living, all the way there and all the way home. Imagine that. 2 years of travel, with the steady hum of the ship preserving a friend you cannot bury. Burial is out. You cannot dig a grave in the floor of a spaceship. And cremation needs huge amounts of energy the crew simply does not have to spare. Throwing the body into space sounds simple. It is not. That body would now orbit the sun forever, a frozen astronaut following the ship like a shadow. Crews say that is unthinkable. Watching a colleague chase you across the solar system forever would haunt them. So engineers looked for something better. And what they came up with may be the strangest funeral idea ever proposed. In 2005, NASA quietly asked an unusual company for help. A Swedish eco-burial firm called Promessa. Promessa had spent years on a green burial method called promession. Instead of fire or soil, it uses extreme cold. Together they designed a system for deep space with a name that is oddly gentle. They called it the body bag. Here is how it would work, and it is genuinely remarkable. The sealed body is placed in a special bag. A robotic arm moves it just outside the ship into the freezing void for about an hour. Out there near absolute zero, the body becomes brittle, frozen solid all the way through. Then the arm gently vibrates the bag. The frozen remains shatter into a fine soft powder, not ash, closer to a kind of dust. The bag is brought back inside. A small microwave step evaporates the water, leaving a dry, compact powder that weighs almost nothing. Around 25 kilograms of a person, reduced to a few clean kilograms of dust. Easy to store, easy to bring home, and almost impossible to forget the meaning of. The body bag was never built. It is still just a concept on paper, but it shows how seriously people are thinking about a problem we hope we never have to use. There is one more layer almost nobody thinks about. When someone dies in space, whose laws even apply? The space station is a patchwork. American, Russian, Japanese and European parts, all bolted into one home. By treaty, each module belongs legally to its home country. So in a strange way, where you are floating when you die can change which nation's rules apply. It sounds absurd, but it matters. Investigations, families, even what counts as the official cause, all sit on top of these invisible borders in orbit. For a Mars ship, those rules barely exist yet. Lawyers and ethicists are still writing them for journeys that have not even launched. We are, right now, inventing the funeral customs of a species only just learning to leave its own planet. So why does all of this matter so much? Because a mission to Mars is not really about rockets. It is about whether humans can survive the distance. On a 3-year voyage with no rescue, statistics say a death is a real possibility. Pretending it is not would be the most dangerous thing a space agency could do. A crew that has thought about loss, trained for it, and made peace with the plan can keep going when the unthinkable happens. And a crew that never faced it could shatter completely, light years from anyone who could help. This is the quiet truth of exploration. The hardest parts are rarely the engines or the fuel. They are the human parts. Grief, fear, saying goodbye with nowhere to put it. Every fan, every body bag, every cold, strange burial idea exists for one reason. So that if the worst happens, the dead are treated with dignity and the living are able to come home. So, what really happens if an astronaut dies in space? In low orbit today, they would be brought home within hours, carried in a quiet unit kept cold against the dark. Far from Earth, on the long road to Mars, they might travel for years beside their crew, or be returned gently as a handful of frozen dust. And in the silence between the stars, where no decay reaches, a body might rest almost perfectly preserved, longer than any tomb ever built on Earth. Remember how we started. A doctor on Earth who knows exactly what to do. A quiet room just down the hall. Up there, the crew has no room down the hall, so they bring the quiet room with them. They build it from hardware, from training, and from each other. It is the most human thing we do, carried into the least human place there is. We refuse to leave each other behind, even 400 kilometers up. We have not perfected it. We may never have to use the hardest versions of these plans, but we made them anyway, out of respect and out of love. Next time, what really happens to your mind after months alone in space, and why some astronauts never feel at home on Earth again. Thank you for watching this one with care. Somewhere overhead right now, 6 people are floating, alive, and counting on plans like these. Good night.